Well, I'm itching to book another cruise.
Oh no, here we go. Here we go, everybody. Hi, we are Jill and Jerry, the Cruising Canucks, and Mr. Canuck says it's time to book another cruise. Yes. Oh no.
What do you think, Bruno? Is it time to go away again?
I don't think he's happy about this idea.
Oh, one of the things that is part of our regular routine, at least part of my regular routine, is hunting for the next cruise deal. And I know a lot of you enjoy doing the same thing. We talked to a lot of our patrons and a lot of our people that we've met on group cruises, and there always seems to be that person in the couple that nonstop shops for cruises.
I am not that person, but Mr. Canuck definitely is. I generally listen to half an hour to an hour of it each morning when we're having our morning coffee. How about this cruise? How about that cruise? Would you go on this cruise?
Oh, what a tough life.
Tough life.
What cruise options to choose from?
There's so many options.
No, we do cruise a lot more than other people. So given that we're always looking for somewhere to go off and do some vlogging, enjoy some time off. And unfortunately for Bruno, that's more often than most people. But as a result, we have kind of developed our own little way of choosing cruises. One person is the researcher. The other person is the approver.
That's right. I have told everybody, Jerry gives me around 10 to 12 options of a cruise a day. And generally around once every couple of months, I hear one that I'm like, oh, look into that one. That's piqued my interest.
All that work for just that, right? Those planners that are out there like me, you know what I'm feeling. So what we want to do today, though, is we're going to give you a look inside that world. So what we're going to do is we are going to pick a time or a date or a rough set of dates in the future, and I am going to get tasked with finding some cruise options. And then when I show you how I do all that research, we will come back and see which cruise Mrs. Canuck chooses. Oh. Are you up for that?
Sure. I think that sounds like I've got the easy end of this deal.
You sure do. Well, as always. So I guess first we have to choose a time that we want to go away. So what do you think? Let's just choose an arbitrary time in the future, something that we'd be looking for. How about a time when cruising is a little less expensive? So let's say we're looking for a deal.
Oh, a little less expensive. Well, that just threw out my idea of when we want it to go.
Of course.
I thought maybe he was going to take me on a cruise for my birthday next year.
I was thinking early December.
Yeah, that's definitely not when my birthday is. Early December.
Early December, but like 2026.
Okay.
So that way it's going to be far enough in the future that there's lots of options. It's not a last minute deal.
You're really planning. You're not usually that far out of a planner. You're trying to get a little more planning going on.
So let's also look at time frames. So in our life, that time of year, we're a little more flexible with time off. So I would argue that we can probably look for a cruise that could be up to 2 weeks long.
Okay.
We don't want to be over Christmas because we have family we want to get back to and be around for Christmas.
Okay.
So we're looking early December, but not into Christmas. So that's kind of the framework.
Is there a budget for this one, or do I get to pick my most wildest one?
I would say that since we are going at a time of year where it's more affordable, we may get on a cruise that's a little usually beyond our budget restrictions. Ooh. So we'll see. You're going to decide at the end. What do you think?
Ooh.
That people have to decide whether or not you've lost your mind or whether it's a good idea.
Ooh. I know of one cruise I want to do in December, but I don't think he'll even put it in the search because I don't think it'll meet his budget requirements.
So that gets to the last point that I need to know before I start doing all the research. I need to know where we're going. Because I know you're thinking like Christmas market cruise is what you're thinking.
But I know you aren't. You're thinking Caribbean cruise, right?
I'm thinking North America. And if it's December, it can't be Alaska. It's too late.
Yeah.
Or too early. And I'm thinking Caribbean, maybe repositioning. You might get some cruises that are repositioning that time of year from Europe back to North America.
December? Like a transatlantic in December?
Some latecomers. We'll see.
Ooh, that might be scary, rough weather.
I'm going to look kind of late November, early December, so I might get a couple that are transitioning, maybe not. It might be a Caribbean cruise. We'll have to see. It might be a repositioning somewhere in North America. Probably not Panama. Probably not South America. We don't want to fly like beyond 6 hours.
Oh, okay.
What do you think?
There you go. He's giving me a lot of parameters at this point.
Well, luckily the parameters are more for me because that's the type of information you need to know when you go out and start pricing out a cruise is kind of what you're looking for.
Oh, okay.
Is there any cruise lines that you don't want to be on when I start looking at them?
Yes.
What are those lines?
Oh.
You don't want to tell people?
Yes. So personal preference, I do not want to go on a Carnival or an MSC unless MSC is Yacht Club. I might consider it.
Okay, so these are the type of things that I need to know. Mm-hmm. Yes, so you don't want to do one of those.
I don't really want to do a Royal Caribbean because I don't really want to do a family cruise unless we're going with our family. So since it's just the two of us, I would probably not take that out of the equation also.
I noticed that Bruno's decided to look away from the camera because he wants nothing to do with this conversation.
Like, I'm done with this. We don't want to talk about this.
Okay, so no MSC, no Royal Caribbean, no Carnival, and we're looking at next year of 26, somewhere in late November, December.
I would also say that I have been really enjoying our smaller cruise ship size experience, and I want to keep on that trend right now. So nothing over 3,000 passengers.
Over 3,000 passengers. Okay. And is that all? That's your parameters? Would you want do you need a drink package on this type of a ship, or are you happy to maybe not go with the drink package?
Depends on where it goes. I'm okay to entertain both options this point.
Oh, I love that because I have to price it out twice then.
Yeah.
Extra work. Okay, I think I have enough to start with.
Okay.
So we're going to take all that and we're going to mash it together in my brain and in my computer in a few minutes here. And I'm going to walk you all through what I go through and the different sites I use and how I kind of piece it all together and how I kind of rule some out before I even bring them to the approver.
And usually how many days are you looking at this before I hear you bring it up to me in the morning coffee routine?
Well, sometimes I watch stuff for months and I see different ideas bouncing around. Sometimes it's weeks or days. Sometimes it's the day that I talk to you.
Oh, wow.
So I don't know how long this is going to take me real time on the computer, but for you, it's only going to take a few seconds because we're going to be jumping over and staring at my screen in just a second. So here we go. And watch, and I will talk you through all the different things I'm looking for, considering what we just talked about. Okay. And then we'll come back and we'll get approval to see what cruise is approved. And as you're kind of watching along, see if you can guess which cruise someone's going to choose at the end. Let's go. Turn on that computer. Well, here we are in the control center for Cruising Canucks. This is where it's all happening, is the editing and all the behind the scenes stuff, including some of the booking stuff that we do. And that's why we're here today, is Mrs. Canuck has tasked me with booking a cruise in late 2026. So I'm going to look and see, and I'm going to share a few things with you. And starting right off, let's look at the calendar, because we want to find out what our dates. When we're looking for something that's date specific when it comes to cruising, then we are looking at the calendar to see what's going to work. So I think we said something about late November and early December. So here's the calendar. We'll go back to November. I'm going to target somewhere, I'm going to say let's go late November, starting the second week. Let's go around the 21st. I would imagine that the American Thanksgiving is somewhere around in there as well. So I'm going to have to watch out for that. And actually, that might be worth a Google search right now. Is the U.S. Thanksgiving in 2026? That is on November 26th. So that would be right about here. And I'm going to have to keep an eye on that. That means that weekend will probably be very expensive and very busy. Usually cruises are less expensive when you get past the U.S. Thanksgiving. There's a gap there between that and Christmas that is really affordable. So I think I'm actually going to back this off even further still. I think we're going to have to look at something after that longer weekend. I'm going to look at something somewhere around the 4th of December. So I'm just going to make a note here, my handy dandy notebook. So December 4th, which is a Friday. And then if we go forward to December, then I'm seeing 4th and 5th there. I'm going to get check departures all the way up until, I don't want to go to the 19th because a week-long cruise would take me till Christmas. So I think the latest I would want to leave would be probably somewhere around the 13th. So between December 4th and 13th is the sweet spot with what we're looking for. So I've got that information now. I am going to go to the site that I use the most for this type of thing, and it is called Cruise Plum. You can see it right here. And I am going to start a search for a cruise, and I am going to start searching. It's a handy website. You can put all kinds of different parameters. That's why I like looking at it. We are from Canada. There's going to be 2 of us. One thing that I do is 1 row per cruise. Otherwise, you get different rows for different cabins of the same cruise. So that's where I start, is right there. And it begins to download the data. And then I'm going to start first by putting my dates in first. I'm going to go to daily calendar embark. I am going to go to 2026. I'm then going to go down to December. And we had flagged December 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, all the way through to the 13th. So I'm just going to choose those dates for departures. There we go. Okay, so this is all of the cruises that are available. There is 19 pages worth. So I'm not sure how many are each page, but this is all the cruises around the world, 19 pages worth for those dates that we're looking at for December 4th to 5th, 13th. And right off the bat, I'm going to go to cruise length. I'm going to modify it a little bit there. So I don't want to do anything less than 7 days, but I would probably do a 7-day if the deal was right. I definitely would consider 8 to 10. I'm not sure I'm going to go all the way up to 2 weeks. I'll consider it. Let's put it that way. If I can get something that's really affordable there at price per day, I might be willing to look at that. So let's start there as our beginning parts. And I guess the other thing I'm going to do is I am going to look at, let's look at cruise lines, or not these lines. So right off the bat, I know that Mrs. Canuck is not very interested in sailing Carnival, so we're probably not doing Carnival. I don't think that we're going to be looking at an MSC in this situation or a Royal Caribbean, so I'm just going to rule those out right off the bat. That makes my search a little bit easier, so I'm going to make sure that those lines are filtered out, which is a nice feature of this website that you can do that. And the other thing I'm going to do is vessel capacity. So we prefer smaller ships, so I'm going to go in and see what I can find for medium-sized ships and small ships. I think anything less than 250 people would be a very niche cruise line, so I'm not going to check that one off. I'm just going to check the other two, because I would bring in Azamara, plus some of the smaller ships possibly on Holland America. Maybe Princess. I'm not sure we get one that small. Definitely stuff like Viking and so forth. So there we go. I've narrowed it down to 4 pages. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to sort by. So right now it's sorting by per day. I'm going to go in and sort by, let's go cabin price per day from lowest price to highest price. And there we go. So right now, the least expensive right now would be doing a Celebrity Infinity round trip Barcelona, December 8th to 20th. 12 nights. I'm sure Mrs. Canuck would love to do Europe. I'm not convinced that we would do that at that time of year, just because it's really close to Christmas. The flights are longer to get over there. So I'm going to go down a little bit and see what we've got next. There's the Constellation. It's coming in at, I'm looking at inside cabins, because I always start with inside cabins, and then I decide if there's a deal, I might move up a little bit higher for category. But inside, I'm looking at around $333 per night. I'm usually pretty happy if I can get something without a drink package, which is what we're seeing right here, for somewhere under $400 per night. So that's in the ballpark. Constellation again at a San Juan the following week is around the same price. I see the Celebrity Summit in there, the early part of December, coming in at $351. Norwegian Jewel, 10 nights round trip Miami, and the Norwegian Pearl that we just got off. It's also in the running. The Zutterdam, we've never been on the Zutterdam. And yeah, that's an interesting one. 7 nights out of Miami. We've got the Celebrity Summit again. It looks like a couple of those cruises on the Summit in December are least expensive, as are the Zutterdam. The Eurodam starts to come in. We get up a little bit higher in price. The Millennium, Dawn. These are all pretty well typical cruises, that we've done in the past. Right off the bat, what I'm usually looking for is something that's going to catch the attention of Mrs. Canuck, because she can be picky and she doesn't want to do the same thing over and over again, even if I do. So I've got to take that into account. And the Zandam is an interesting option. 12 nights out of San Diego. I would probably do that one, but Mrs. Canuck, she prefers the Caribbean side, a little bit better snorkeling than she does on the Pacific side of Mexico. So I'm guessing that one's probably not in the running. Got a couple of small Norwegians are in there, the Norwegian Jade. Where are we for price points? So now we're starting to jump up. You can see we're up at that 400 to 500 per night. So now we're starting to reach beyond, what I would consider to be a good price. And I know that you can go through on other parts of this site and look for great deals versus excellent deals and, that type of thing. This is kind of where I go, is, looking at price per night. So let's see here. I'm having a tough time with this. We haven't sailed a smaller Celebrity ship. And this is kind of sometimes what I like to do when I look at cruises options. I like to see what I can come up with for. I'm looking at the Celebrity Infinity. Oh, that's in Europe, though. Let's look at Constellation. I think that's one of the smaller ships. And usually what I do is I go to Teleon's Troop. I often go to Wikipedia. I'll show you here what I'm looking at. And Celebrity Constellation, I want to kind of see what are we looking at for size for a ship that I'm not familiar with. 2,100 people, not too bad. Came out in 2001, it looks like. I'm not sure if I see anything there about a refurbishment. Not off the top of my head. Oh, there we go. Postponed until spring of 2024. So actually recently refurbished. So now Constellation has my attention. Small ship. And it also has been recently refurbished, which is really good for doing stuff like ship tours when you're vlogging. And we wanted to try a celebrity ship this size. So I'm going to go back here to Cruise Plum. And now I want to see, where is the Constellation going here? It's a 7-night, December 5th, the 12th. Information, let's go down. And Cruise Plum, one of the things you can see is how has the price been trending. And it looks here, I'm looking at the inside cabin, the bottom part of this chart, and look at that big drop. Recently, it's down to 811. I'm filming this on August 16th, and I can see that it is probably the lowest. It is the lowest that it's been, wow, for the entire time since they've been offering this cruise. So at that price Canadian per person, I am very interested. And let's see where it's going. So it's leaving San Juan, so I've got to factor that in. And I think this is going to be one of the ones that's going to make the cut here. Mrs. Canuck is always wanting to sail out of San Juan, so I think that that's definitely going to be something she'd be interested in. So let's go Celebrity Constellation. And I'm looking at that from San Juan. It goes to St. Thomas, St. Martin, Antigua, St. Lucia, Barbados. Yeah, not bad. I think the Saint Islands there. Those are nice islands in the eastern part of the Caribbean. So I think that would work. The dates there for this cruise were December 5th to 12th. The 12th. And what are we looking at for price? Now the price here does include tips. There is a way to go over here, I think, for price and tweak what you want to see or don't want to see. But what I usually do is just kind of leave this in. I may actually do some math in my head, but right now I'm looking at a total of $23.33. These are all in Canadian dollars. So just so you know, if you're converting that to America, it's roughly 2/3 of that. And you're probably looking at something closer to 1,500-1,600 American. But I'm looking at $23.34. Problem is, I know that doesn't include a drink package, which is pretty expensive on Celebrity, but we're going to get a starting price at $23.34. I'm going to put that down in my little notebook here as an option. And then I'm going to also know that it's also the lowest price it's been, so it might be something I want to book right away. And destination, not too bad for that time of year. So there's a starting point. I've got one cruise already on the Constellation from the 5th to 12th. That's right the time frame we were looking for. Southeast Caribbean. Yeah, that's not too bad. Actually, to go up to an ocean view isn't a bad price. And balcony is a little bit above 400, but that's typical. So we've got that as an option. How about, I see another one there. We got Celebrity Summits. Let's stay on the celebrity theme. And I see it's going from Tampa. Where was okay, so this was San Juan. And this one's from Tampa. And it is going from December 6th to 13th. Just making a note here. So when I get back to Mrs. Canuck, I can let her know the options. So the Summit there, and it is coming in at a decent price as well. Let's see. I'm looking at a total price with tips in at $24.58. Again, before a drink package. Sounds always good with it, the drink package, doesn't it? So let me see. Where is this one going to? Price-wise as well, Celebrity must have a deal on right now because once again, it's 8th. I think that's $9.34. And it's been going for, in around those prices. It's been pretty steady, actually. So it's hasn't really dropped a lot in price compared to what we saw with the Constellation. And where's it going? Oh, it's going Cosmo, Belize, Costa Maya. We call that the milk run. So I'm going to make a note, milk run, because that's kind of the first dozen cruises we probably did were all very similar to that itinerary. What we don't like in Celebrity going to... first of all, it doesn't go to Roatan, so that's not an issue. Belize is tender. Not sure if we're going to like that. We often don't get off the boat in Belize. Costa Maya, we definitely do not like Costa Maya. So I'm thinking the itinerary is very weak on this. So if this was a really inexpensive cruise, I might be able to put with itinerary here, Cozumel, on Celebrity. Even if we don't have the drink package, we can do kind of a resort type of beach day package where you can get drinks and food, kind of a Mr. Sancho's type of thing. But yeah, very weak itinerary. It's definitely second, I would say, to the Constellation. And let's see what else we can find here. I know Mrs. Canuck's going to want something a little more exotic, so I'm going to have to see what I can come up with here. Zuiderdam 7 nights. Let's see if there's a multi-night. Here's a Celebrity Millennium. No, that's in Asia. Norwegian Dawns out of Tampa. Amsterdam's 9 days out of Fort Lauderdale. That would give us a Holland America option at a not bad price. That one right there. Zandam 12 nights, San Diego. That's that one off the West Coast. I don't think she'll bite on that one. I think that'll just get shot down. So I'm just going to skip over there. Norwegian Sun is an interesting class of ship. A little bit of attention. It kind of backs up tight to Christmas. I know that we've got the free at sea would have to get added to that price. I'm just going to jump forward and see if I can get something that's maybe a little higher price point, but maybe a little more exotic. There we go. I found it. Do you see what it is? I saw it right away. Azamara Onward. And also we have some interesting ones. We have got a transatlantic Viking Sky. We've always wanted to do Viking. The problem is the only thing that's available is a balcony. This is a $9,000 cruise for 13 nights. I think it's a little out of the budget for what we're thinking, as much as Viking has me excited, and I'm surprised it showed up there. However, I'm looking at the Azamara Onward, the Azamara Quest. Azamara Quest is coming in at $6,400. That's $640 a night. That's a lot of extra money, but we're going to write it down only because I want to do that comparison that I always talk about where this is an all-inclusive cruise, drinks and everything's included, and tips are included. So I'm curious to see how that compares. So I'm going to go Azamara Quest, and it is a 10-day from Miami. And this one, Mrs. Canuck's probably going to go for this one, but we'll see. Where does it go? Let's check this out. First of all, price, I'm looking at a total of $6,404. So keep that in mind. That may sound like a lot, but when I go back and price out these Celebrity cruises, you might be a little bit surprised at where this ends up. And price-wise, we missed the low point. The low point was all the way back in April there. It was even less expensive. It's only been going up. So is this one we sit and wait and see? Does it come back down? Like you can see, look at the balconies and suites. They've really taken off in price. Wow. Mini suites, yeah. Everything's jumped up quite a bit. There was a drop all the way back here in June a little bit. But yeah, from where it was, this kind of shows you that story that sometimes we talk about when you first want to book a cruise, maybe get it when it first comes out, because this is definitely the case with this cruise. It's only gone up since it was released. However, I do know that a lot of Azamara cruises in December at this time often do kind of have a sell-off a little bit later on when you get closer to the cruise. So I'm gonna price this one out because I still don't think it's an awful price for a 10-day. And where's it going? Let's find out what that is first. I think that's kind of funny that we're not really looking to see where we're going, but this time of year, you're looking for warm. You just want to get away. It goes out of Miami, Key West. Interesting. Key West is kind of a cute little spot. You don't get to a lot because they don't have as many bigger ships in there as more. You jump over to St. Thomas, St. Martin, St. Kitts, Tortola, Miami. So nothing super exciting. If anything, comparable in some ways to the Celebrity Constellation that was doing the Southeast Caribbean. And I know this is a smaller ship, probably 600-700 people since it's Azamara. And I am going to leave that one right here. So the next thing we need to do is, I know that Azamara price is probably pretty close to what the final will be. But what I want to do next is I am going to go to Celebrity Cruise Lines. I just want to make sure that I am visiting from Canada. I'm going to the Canadian site because I want Canadian dollars is what I'm looking for. I'm going to find a cruise and go on, search all cruises. And what was I looking for? The Constellation on December 4th is what I'm looking for. So let's go. December of 26 is right there. And I want to have, it's a 7-night cruise. It is on the Constellation, I believe. There we go. See results. And we were looking for the one that was on the 4th. There we go. And San Juan, all these are San Juan. I just have to find the right one. Inside cabin.
book now. And you may be surprised here, I am not on a third-party site. I'm not doing anything fancy, even on Cruise Plum. At this point, I am at the actual celebrity site. This is what I always do. And I have inside 2 adults. Go to room selection. And I'm going to go inside because I know Azamara. I'm going to price it inside out. I'm going to click inside. I prefer to kind of pick my cabin. So you can see the price difference there. I kind of want to know where I'm going to be. So I'm probably going to go with the difference between the inside and the prime. I'm probably going with the prime. So that comes in at $956. I'm already seeing there that my price is sneaking up a little bit. I just kind of randomly choose a cabin. I just kind of scroll around, go all over the place. At this point, all I'm really interested in is price. I might go to something that's a little more middle of the ship. Let's try deck 8. There we go. There's lots of cabins on deck 8. And let's just randomly choose one. There's the lucky winner right there. But I can see right now, total price is coming in at $23.01 Canadian. And where did I get that? I had that on the left side right here is what it's sitting at right now. And continue to preferences. I'm hoping I can price out the drink package option in here right now. And here we go, upgrade. So I got early dining options, pay my gratuities before. I'd rather have a refundable deposit. You can see that adds $450. But I'm going to go upgrade to all included because we're trying to compare it to that Azamara. There we go, upgrade. Okay, now our price is $3,771 all in. $3,771 all in. And it's compared to $6,404 was the Constellation now. Price per night now, I'm now at a price of $483 per night, which was compared to $640 per night on Azamara. That gives me Wi-Fi and drinks, I believe is what that is. Yes, it is. Tips are still charged separately, so I have to remember that I have to add tips to that. What were the tips price? Just because we know Azamara is tips included. Now we're adding the gratuities. Now our price is coming in at $41.06 for a comparison. Coming in at $586 per night now is what the Constellation is. So $586 compared to $640. So yes, the cruise itself is less expensive because it's coming in at $41. Azamara's price is $6,404. There's a $2,000 difference in there, just over $2,000, but that makes sense because it's a 10-day. But when we go price per night, for example, if the Celebrity was priced out at a 10-day cruise, so if it was the same length as Azamara, it's going to come in at about almost $5,900, which is about $500 less than Azamara. You can see how close they are. They're getting really close when you compare apples to apples. And Azamara, I don't think I'm going to get internet with that, but a lot of times they've been on board gratuity. Let me price out Azamara just so I can show you that I'm going from the actual price. And there's a deal on right now. Let's go any month. I want to look at December. My destination is going to be the Caribbean and search. And I am looking for, what was that? I think it was a 10 night starting on December 8th on the Quest, right? Yes, there it is, December 8th on the Quest. Prices from 3,100 Canadian. Let's go to book now. We have 2 guests. I started out looking for 3 cruises. I think it's going to come down to 2 cruises. I really do. And I'm going to go down to an interior, select. And I'm going to go down to an interior stateroom. This is, I think this, I can choose this price here and I choose my cabin. I believe that's what's going on. Let's click it and find out. And you can see with the Azamara, you have an option that you could pay in full up front and you get a 5% onboard credit. So 5% of that, you get around just over $300 onboard credit if you booked and paid everything up front instead of putting just a deposit on it. I know that this price here from dealing with Azamara before is the final price. So I know that I am going to be looking at $62.58, which is compared to the $41.06, but now my price per night is down to $625 compared to $586. They're getting really close when you price them out there. Now they're within within $300 or $400 if you price them both as a 10-day cruise. So I think I have my 2 cruises, and that's just a really quick example. A lot of times I even do more research on the ships and the details, but I think by doing this quick example here, I've kind of been able to show you that we are, there's 3 contenders here. If I'm just going by price and something easy to get to that's within a 7 to 10 day range. So Miss Canuck wants to do just a 7-day and do a small ship celebrity experience. It's going to be costing her $41.06. And if she wants to do a celebrity summit, it's a little bit more. It goes out of Tampa Bay, does the milk run, but I think less, impressive ports to stop at. So I kind of think she's going to rule that one out, but I'll leave it in there as an option. And then the Azamara quest there coming in, it's 2,000 more, but it's also cruise is almost half as longer. So we'll see what she decides, right? So I hope that helps a little bit, show a little bit of the process I've used to hunt down cruises. And that's just the beginning, because of course, then you've got to worry about flights after you make a decision, and you have to get the deposit paid and get everything booked. But I've got my 3 cruises. I'm going back with Mrs. Canuck to kind of pitch and see what she says. Wish me luck. Hopefully I found one. Off we go.
Okay, we're back with Mrs. Canuck after I did all that research and I came up with all those good ideas for cruises.
Good idea.
Yes, I've made all my notes now. So
And if you can read that, you deserve to go on a cruise.
there's a lot of information in this small little piece of paper.
I just called it gibberish as I saw him pick up his fancy dancy notebook, his handy dandy notebook, as Blue's Clues would say.
Okay, so we'll see which one she chose. I showed you all the different options. I ruled it down to 3. And we'll see. So one thing, just to let you know,
Okay.
when we, the people watching, and I went through it all,
Yes.
we did see that we looked at early December, we looked at late November of next year, 26. And it turns out that with where the American Thanksgiving was, it's like the last weekend in November. So I ruled that out as an option
Good.
because I knew there'll be A, lots of children, probably very busy on the cruise ships, C, probably a little more expensive. So I ruled that weekend out.
Perfect. Good.
And we didn't want it to bleed into Christmas. So that kind of really only gave us about maybe a 10-day window there.
Yeah.
And so like 7 to 14 days was the ballpark I was looking for.
Okay.
So there you go. So we did some searching. We got it down to a few. We ruled out a few. One of the things that you had mentioned was MSC Yacht Club was the only way you'd think of MSC. I didn't see MSC anywhere in the top of any of the searches I did by price per day.
Okay.
That made me think that Yacht Club would be that much more. Again, it wasn't even going to be competitive because we've looked in the past, it's been like almost $10,000 for a 7-day cruise for Yacht Club.
Really?
Yeah, so
wow.
that's Canadian dollars. But so I knew that the prices I was already getting were not going to be competitive. So I didn't even go down the MSC route and I ruled them out.
I'm okay with that.
So here's what I came up with.
All right.
I came up with 2 different cruise lines for the 3 cruises. One cruise line seemed to be doing really well with dropping prices incrementally. And I kind of looked for ships that we hadn't done a lot of. Small ships. I went for ships for under, I think, 3,000 people. And we found a few takers. So
Okay.
I'm not sure we found any stellar deals.
Okay.
But I found ones that we would probably look at and say, yeah, that might not be worth, too bad for us to spend on a cruise.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. First
Here we
one,
go. Finally.
Celebrity.
Okay.
Celebrity smaller ship. The Celebrity Summit.
Okay.
It came up first as our least expensive option. So without the drink package, it came in at $2,300 Canadian.
For an interior room?
For an interior room. Now that was for the prime interior, so it's not the guarantee. It would have been cheaper. It's not the interior that's at the bottom 2 levels of the ship. It's
Right.
middle, farther up. So it came
They
in.
do have nice interior rooms. Well, I mean, our one experience so far on Apex was it was a beautiful interior room.
And I've already lied to you.
Oh,
It wasn't the Summit. It was the Constellation. As you all know, probably thinking, no, Jerry, you got the wrong one. It's the Constellation.
it doesn't really mean anything to me because I don't know the difference, but okay.
Constellation, we looked it up. It was last refurbished in 2024.
Oh, okay.
So there you go.
That's nice.
It's got some value that it's more
Yeah.
recent. It was the least expensive option. It was going, another thing that I thought would be a draw for you, going out of San Juan.
Oh, yeah, that's a bit of a draw.
So going out of Puerto Rico. So you got maybe a little bit more expensive flight, but you're start your vacation right in the Caribbean right off the
I
bat.
like that. And where else does it go then?
It pretty
it's not
well-
going to bring me to Costa Maya if it goes out of Puerto Rico.
It pretty well did the Saints. So St. Martin. I can't remember all the exact
St. Martin,
details.
St. Kitts.
Yeah, those
St.
kind of things.
Lucia, that
Yeah.
sort of thing.
Yeah, it's those type of Saints. Yeah.
7 days.
7 days, $2,300. Now to get into the drink package, we were having to boost it up at over $4,000
Wow.
for the drink
Nice.
package and the internet. And I believe even the tips in, I think we were coming in at around $4,100. So that's almost doubled when you added those things. So yeah, that's getting
a
up
great
there
deal.
for a 7-day cruise, all inclusive, everything. That it wasn't great, but it was probably the best of the 7-day cruises.
Oh.
Believe it or not. Yeah.
Gee.
Okay, so that was option one. Option two, slightly more expensive, was the Celebrity Summit.
Okay.
That's the one that was a summit. It was on average, it was about $140 more for the cabin. So you pretty well add $140 to all those prices there. So you were coming in at about $2,500, which means you're probably coming into closer to about $4,300 for the whole package if you were going to get the drink package.
And it goes from where to where?
So that one is going out of Tampa Bay.
Okay.
It is going and doing the milk run. So you're doing Costa Maya. I don't even think it did Roatan. I think it was Belize, Costa Maya, Cozumel.
Okay. Next.
Next. And the third one, so hopefully we've got one here that you like. The next one was a 10-day. It was on a small ship as well, actually even smaller still. It was the Azamara Quest.
Ooh.
And it was coming in at $6,200 and change. Ooh.
It was ooh.
So this is probably a lot about, this is what it looks like when we have our like morning coffee breaks in the morning.
Yes.
And I'm giving her all these prices and numbers and cruises and
Yeah.
where they go from. Let me
And when
tell
he
you,
talks like this, I say, go back to the drawing board and talk to me in another couple of days.
Miami is where it was going from, and it basically did a lot of what the Constellation did. It did a lot of the Saint Islands. It might have got down to Aruba, possibly not Aruba, Barbados. I think it went down kind of that way because it was 10 days, a little
Nice
further.
itinerary then, for sure. In
So,
10 days.
so,
Nice.
so what was interesting is the price per night on the Azamara came in about 620 some odd dollars.
Per night.
But the price for the Constellation came in at $590 per night.
Oh.
So it was within $30 a night to go from the Constellation to the Azamara.
Okay.
And the Azamara did have a promotion on for some onboard credit. So I'm not sure how much, but it probably would be enough to pay for, say, the internet to offset the cost of where it didn't include it.
Azamara gives you drinks included.
Yep.
And tips are included.
Yep.
And you're going to get some sort of excursion credit or onboard credit.
And possibly, I think there's one of their specialty dining, I think, is included.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that is the Azamara experience for you. It's a much smaller ship than the Celebrity Constellation. So those are the three I came up with. So not too exotic, but the idea was to find something affordable, early December. And now you have to choose which one. I asked everybody in there to find out what they thought would be your choice. I guessed at what I thought your choice would be. So I guess you to the extremes here are no packages, no drink package or anything else. Get on the Constellation for 7 days for $2,300.
Yeah.
That's where your entry level point is if you just want to save money and go on a cruise. And I think a Celebrity small ship experience would be still really good even without the drink package. For the price of the drink package, you could argue you could probably buy a few drinks on board and kind of do it your way.
True.
And then you have the other extreme, which is you're getting up over $6,200, but you are getting a 10-day cruise, and you're getting everything on an Azamara.
Sorry, I was yawning. It's like I am first thing in the morning. This is what I'm like.
So what do you think? Which one would you take? Would you blow the bank on the Azamara? Would you do the Constellation
I guess
responsibly?
it really depends on what the bank is doing leading up till then.
You said something very interesting just a while ago that kind of made me think that I'm not thinking any of these are kind of knocking my socks off for what I expect typically on early December. I might be
agree.
inclined to say, well, watch these ones, but we'll see if they go down. Now, what was interesting is the Constellation.
That's my initial thought. When he just told me all of that, I thought, this is something similar to what I hear a lot of mornings when I'm having coffee. And I'm like, and you keep looking because I don't want any of those. So there really isn't any one there that stands out. Obviously, I love the idea of the Azamara, but I like the idea of the Constellation too. But neither one is
They're not
really
great prices. No.
right.
No.
Exactly. The itinerary on the Azamara is more, tweaking my interests.
So if someone forced you to make a decision, though, based on this, which one would you take?
Again, I don't know. It depends on the budget.
Have to choose one.
Have to choose one. Well, I think I'm feeling a little cheap right now, so I would say the Constellation with the no drink package.
Wow. We didn't guess that, or maybe I didn't. but someone out there might have guessed it. Yeah. So yeah, you would take the Constellation right now at $2,300 and go that way for now.
Yeah, because Azamare is 3 times the price.
It is, and I think that's one thing to watch. You can do price per night like we did.
Yeah.
But if you are looking for a quick getaway, like this was kind of what we were hunting for a 7-day, go early, before Christmas to have a warm getaway.
Yeah, we've got some decent plans made already for next year. So, I mean, it'd be different if we were just booking one trip and that was it. But we know that we're going to be on multiple cruises next year. So I don't want to spend over $6,000 on something when we're just looking for a quick little good getaway. I don't want cheap. Like, we're not looking at other lines. But yeah, I think that's where I'd go.
There you go. Huh. And I would have taken you on the big expensive one if you wanted me to.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I want you to. But
so anyways, but I think the point was to generate the discussion of how do we tackle this? This is typically what we do every day is we say, we got a time frame. What can we find? I go try to find it.
Yeah.
Sometimes I find something that jumps out and it's like, yes, book that now. And a lot of times it's like, those are kind of okay. But
these are what he just presented to me now is what I would quite honestly say to him. Well, just keep an eye on that, and we'll come back to it in another month or so and see what you see down the road.
So there you go. That's our process. The good news for me is I get to go and keep on researching cruises. So it's not a lose for me at all.
There you go. Win-win.
Leave us some comments below if you have any questions or comments on how you book cruises or anything that you want to know about the websites or anything that I showed you and I use. So I'm more than happy to share. And until next time, I'm going to keep hunting for cruises and I'm sure you'll be doing the same. Thanks, everybody. If this was valuable to you, this video, then be sure to subscribe. Hit the like button. It helps the channel a lot. And we are off. So thanks for watching, everybody.
Goodbye.